Bonjour Madame Krystal, merci beaucoup et comment ça va?
Je suis ravie, merci.
Merci beaucoup Madame Krystal et est-ce que tu veux partager un peu en français?
Oui, mmh, je m'appelle Krystal, je viens de Dallas au Texas. Je suis avocate, et j'aime mes chats.
Excellent. Merci beaucoup Madame Krystal and we'll do the rest of it in English. And so what made you interested in learning français?
During the pandemic, my partner and I were quarantined together, and there was absolutely nothing to do. He had just had a medical procedure, so we were stuck in a hotel room. Um, and we were just like, what do we do to not be bored? So we both downloaded Duolingo and played with that a lot, and we were both learning different languages. I was playing with French, he was learning Spanish, and we were going to travel. What ended up happening was we watched Frasier 5 times in a row.
Wow.
So after everything sort of cooled down, I thought to myself, like, one thing I really want to do is sort of finish what we started and learn new languages. And then eventually travel one day. I don't even have a passport yet, but the French language is just beautiful to me. So I started with that and have not found any reason to want to stop yet.
Wonderful, Crystal. Your passion for French, for français, c'est incroyable. It's amazing. And, we absolutely love having
Merci.
you. Wait, you're just so passionate with the language, and everyone loves working with you. You're such a wonderful, open, and kind energy. So, merci beaucoup, Crystal.
Oui, merci.
Oui, and then what made you decide to join the Bonjour Brigitte program?
You did. I was when I first was like, do I want to learn French? I just joined a lot of random Facebook groups, and like I think I looked up "learn French" on Facebook in the little search thing, and then I went to groups, and yours was one of the groups, and you messaged me and you told me about your class, and it sounded phenomenal. And then when I met with you, what you described was a great class. The price was really good in terms of what we were getting for it. And you were such a friendly and open person that it seemed like that would be a really healthy learning environment for someone new. And I did it, and I'm glad I did.
Wow, Madame Cristal, c'est super. Just wonderful. And your French, we'll talk about that later, but your French has just, skyrocketed since joining. It's been such an absolute pleasure to watch. And so, what has been your favorite part about the program so far? How have you enjoyed it?
We I think I love the conversation cafes. Your classes, the online classes, like the listening exercises that we get are phenomenal. It has made my commute a lot more enjoyable because it is a long one. And so and they're long enough that I don't have many questions about each subject, but they're also succinct enough that everything you learn is important. They're not too repetitive. Um, but with the conversation cafe, I love the ability to utilize what I learned in situations with other people on the other end of the computer where I don't necessarily know what I'm going to be saying each time I go in, because it's not the same as like rote listening and repeating. What I say has to actually respond to the input somebody else gives me. And while I make more mistakes that way, when somebody does say or asks me a question and I realize I don't need to use Google Translate to answer this and say it, it's a very reinforcing feeling of accomplishment.
You put it perfectly. And the nice thing is, I know you're very busy as a lawyer. And so it helps you de stress and, relax. It's something you enjoy as well.
It's like a nap where you learn French. It's very refreshing. I think taking a few hours a week just to sit down and do something that makes you happy is the same is just as important as getting about 8 hours of sleep or 3 meals a day. Because if you're not fueling your soul, eventually the muscles start to feel floppy and sad. And twice a week, or well, now 3 times a week, I'm
Wait.
able to come home right from work, and I can make it known, "Hey, I've got a class. I can't take calls for an hour." And then I just sit for an hour, learn something that I love with people that are just completely supportive and wonderful. So it's not so much as adding to my busy schedule, it's helping me relax and sort of recharge from the busy schedule.
Oui, c'est magnifique. Et oui, and you're exactly right. You love, to talk and to be with the community, to be with your friends. And it's just something that, everyone looks forward to. I think you said at one point it was the highlight of your week. And it was just like, oh, that's so nice because you always are so happy when you're there.
It is, and the nice thing is, I think that I think a lot of people, they do shy away from live classes because, they're introverts, and I'm actually a very introverted person for the most part, but the adding the sort of the barrier of being on your computer in the comfort of your own home, it's it's really perfect for both people, because some people, they need to be around others to recharge, but then others, they wanna be by themselves, and you kinda have that right in the middle sweet spot that just is really open for anyone of all types of personalities.
Yes, and it's nice because you can do it from your home. You have your cats. I know you have Atticus, who is adorable. I don't know if we can see
Right.
Atticus, but I know he's always sitting nearby. And I think by now he's learned a lot of French as well.
That's
Oh,
him,
dude,
and he's
Atticus!
been yes, he's been sitting every class next to me or on my lap, almost every class, so I've not tried talking to him in French yet, but well, yeah, that's au
You know
revoir.
what? I'm sure he's picked up so much, and he's just adorable. I'm an animal lover, and I want a cat like that. Really.
I highly recommend it.
Merci beaucoup, Krystal. And then, do you think your French has improved since joining the program?
Yes, I think that the one the moment that I knew, and this is gonna sound kind of, contradictory, but I felt like I was improving halfway through when I was like, "I don't know anything. I'm getting worse. I'm getting this. I'm getting that." But it was because I was gaining the concepts, and I was realizing that there is so much more vocab that I don't know yet. There are different verb conjugations that I don't know yet, and like the past participle, there's imperfect. So just the present tense, there's so much more to what I knew when I first started. The first day I was doing it, I was like, "Bonjour, je m'appelle, I got this." And then because your classes give us so many mini lessons on cultures or different traditions or different festivals,
Mm.
there's a lot of different ways to write down something. There's a lot of different ways to say something, and I think I learned what I don't know, and I wouldn't have gotten there if I didn't get to a point where I can recognize different grammar styles or conjugations.
Oui.
In terms of speaking, I feel much more confident in my speaking. Uh, mm, and it's one of those things where it's nice to see how many words, if I have like a TV on in the background and I'm watching it in French, that I can recognize if I walk out to the kitchen. And then I come back and I realize, oh, that sentence made sense to me and I wasn't looking at the television. And it's like little victories that you don't know you were looking for.
Yes. That's a great way of putting it, Krista. And it's so true. It's like they say, as you get older, you realize how many things you don't know, or as you study more, you realize how many things you don't know. And that's so valuable because then you can, put your energy towards learning those things. Like, you were saying like the imparfait, the past tense, maybe you want to do more passé composé. I added some more lessons under module
Oui.
6 for passé composé, but
Yeah.
it's just so true, and you know what? That's great because then you identify what you do wanna learn, and then you just keep going.
Mhm.
Yes, and you're speaking Krista. It's really wonderful. I remember in the beginning, you were, you may be a bit introverted, but now you're just speaking all the time. It's just so, wonderful and beautiful
Merci,
to watch
vous
you
êtes
blossom.
gentil.
Oui, oui, et avec Malika, you're talking all the time, you're debating and Shahad, so it's just such a pleasure to watch.
Merci.
Oui, et finalement, Krystal, would you recommend this program to others?
Yes. I mean, yes, undoubtedly. I'm trying to figure out some other way to say it more enthusiastically without screaming and scaring the cats, but very much so. I came into this. Started this
Mhm.
simultaneously with my Alliance Francais class, and I didn't know any French, and the way that they mirrored and complemented each other was very nice, but the structure of yours, where you gave us plenty to do on our own time, we can kind of bring it all together 3 days a week. It kind of keeps it fresh in your mind, and I think that having that very well structured, like, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, it doesn't allow you to really forget anything.
Yes.
Um, it's you've somehow cultivated just a very welcoming presence for the class that
Oh,
it's perfect for beginners. But I assume if I ever become like C1 level, but then don't speak French for a year and I need to come back and work on it, it's also great. That's what the conversation cafe is for. It's
exactly.
good for all levels.
Exactly, it's to get you speaking, and that's a nice thing, like you said, whether you're beginner, you're more advanced, we know we split you up so that you can be with those people at your level. So, as you have improved, you were first more with the beginners, now you're with intermediate, advanced, so just wonderful. And Crystal, one last question. If people are nervous about learning French, maybe they feel overwhelmed or they're just starting out, what would you say to them?
Um, there the There's nothing. Well, I guess I understand being nervous before trying something new because I don't like to fail at things. And as a perfectionist, I've tried very hard to not make mistakes. And when you're learning a new language, there is zero chance of you not making mistakes. It's just not going to happen. It's the process of learning something completely new. But
Good.
once you do, I've noticed that getting used to a language that is has a different sort of speaking structure than your own, because there are some things in French like pour moi. I wouldn't say for me, I prefer, but it's pour moi, the for sentence, very normal. It it kind of changes the way you think, and it helps you not only learn this new language, but it
Oui.
also helps you with logic and reasoning in your everyday life. And the biggest advice that I would give someone who's nervous is, if you pronounce a word wrong or you have an accent, all that means is that you have taken the step to learn a language that isn't your own. And who else can say that? So if anyone gives you golf for that, sorry, I just learned another language. It means that that's something to be proud of.
Exactly, exacto, Crystal. You nailed it perfectly. That's the thing. We always want to push ourselves to learn second languages, and not everyone's like that. So if you do want to learn a second language, it's something you should be proud of, you should embrace, and just keep going, because as the time goes on, you're gonna get better and better and better, and it'll be just wonderful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Merci beaucoup, Madame Crystal.
Merci pour tout.
Oui, merci infiniment.